wanting to make a name for themselves in the emerging realm of digital communication. News organizations lauded the idea, describing it as a new era's beginning. In its short 3 years of existence, the metaverse has gone from being heralded as the wave of the future in digital engagement to being largely ignored by corporations. Mark Zuckerberg redesigned Facebook as Meta in 2021, drawing inspiration from Tron in 1982 and Second Life in 2003, it was launched with. There was a lot of enthusiasm at first, but it failed because it lacked direction and useful features. Critics panned the game's intended core platform, Horizon Worlds, citing its dated visuals and clumsy interface. On top of the already unpleasant experience of donning the cumbersome Oculus VR headgear, players were met with lifeless, uninspiring virtual towns. A sobering story was told even by the stats. The metaverse's top monthly active participants were just 300,000, in stark contrast to Meta's other platforms, such as Instagram and Facebook, which had billions of users. Instead of the wide user base Meta had aimed to recruit, many of these were children. No matter how lofty its goals, the metaverse never quite settled on anything. Could you tell me what it was meant to be? The project failed due to the lack of a convincing response to this question. At the same time, naysayers voiced worries about the possible drawbacks of putting virtual communities ahead of actual human relationships. They claimed the metaverse was more of a marketing gimmick than an actual technological advancement. There was little return on investment for the tech industry's focus on the metaverse as it dwindled in popularity as AI found more useful uses. Mark Zuckerberg was going through a tough time personally as the metaverse kept going downhill. Priscilla Chan and his wife were experiencing some difficulties. What was going on with his tech vision? Be sure to tune in to find out. A strain on Mark Zuckerberg's relationship. An internal conflict for Mark Zuckerberg surfaced at the same time that the metaverse encountered difficulties. His growing preoccupation with video games worried his wife, Priscilla Chan. Because of Zuckerberg's obsession with the metaverse, he spent a lot of time in his virtual reality headset and very little time with his girlfriend. At first, only little symptoms of stress started to stand out. When Zuckerberg began to act strangely, he began to address Priscilla as his human wife and inquired as to whether she was his flesh spouse or computer spouse. These served to emphasize Priscilla's growing unease with the scenario, even though others could have written them off as jokes. Incidents involving their children only served to heighten her concerns. During one particularly unnerving incident, Zuckerberg seemed to blur the boundaries between real life and virtual reality when he playfully questioned their son, whom he called Digital Spawn, to affirm that he had legs. Although these eccentricities might not have caused any harm, they demonstrated how completely engrossed Zuckerberg was in the digital world. According to reports, Priscilla was having a harder and harder time figuring out how to make her husband's dream of a globally interconnected virtual world work in their home. She placed a premium on stability and physical presence in her roles as mother and partner, but Zuckerberg's aspirations for the metaverse frequently appeared to conflict with those values. The expensive presents he sometimes gave her, like a statue modeled after a Roman monument built in her honor, came across more as showy gestures than sincere displays of affection. Some have argued that these showy performances are compensating. Couples therapist Isabel Morley of Massachusetts characterized such presents as possible warning signs, suggesting that they may hide deeper problems in the relationship. Perhaps they symbolized the widening gap between Priscilla's and her husband's values. Even weird headlines were generated by Zuckerberg's obsession with the metaverse. Supposedly, he tried to use a virtual reality headgear in an awkward method, which led to an accident. Although these accounts were mostly conjectural, they depicted a man whose career was interfering with his personal life. No one could help but notice the similarities between Zuckerberg's marital problems and the metaverse. They appear to be lacking in groundedness, prioritizing lofty goals above actual realities. Many wondered if Zuckerberg's relationship with Priscilla could withstand the strain of his career as Meta turned its attention to artificial intelligence and other projects. One can't help but wonder how Mark Zuckerberg's relationship with Priscilla Chan is affected by his focus on innovative technologies like the metaverse. Is their relationship strong enough to handle the stresses of fame? Leave a comment with your ideas. Please share your thoughts with us. Please subscribe and like the video. A straightforward rule was instituted by Priscilla. One night out on the town and 1 hour of undisturbed time together every week. They found stability in these shared experiences. Amidst the chaos of their burgeoning jobs, they found ways to maintain a feeling of routine, including taking leisurely walks through parks, playing bocce, or enjoying dinners at nearby Asian restaurants. Their romance started in the restroom line, but it evolved into a companionship based on trust, understanding, and a promise to spend time together no matter how busy they got. Their lives and the world at large would be forever changed by this coupling. Between loved ones and friends. The bond between the two people changed gradually as time went on. Priscilla began a new chapter in her and Mark's story in 2010 when she moved into Mark's rented Palo Alto home. As usual, Zuckerberg made the announcement on Facebook in a humorous manner, offering friends their extra home things. Beast, a rescue dog they adopted that year, became an integral part of their expanding family. After going public with their romance on Facebook in March 2011, they bought a Palo Alto mansion with 5 bedrooms for an unbelievable $7 million in May of the same year. Real estate investments by the Zuckerbergs increased in tandem with their net worth. To secure seclusion and make room for a future family, Mark gradually spent an extra $43 million to purchase 4 adjacent estates. While everyone was talking about Facebook's IPO in 2012, Mark and Priscilla were busy celebrating some personal milestones of their own. They secretly wed in May at their Palo Alto home's backyard. Surprise! It was actually their wedding day, and guests were invited under the pretense of celebrating Priscilla's graduation from medical school. In keeping with the couple's taste for understatement over excess, the ceremony was small and private. There was a rush of online congratulations when Mark even changed his Facebook status to married soon after. Similarly grounded was their Rome honeymoon. Guests noticed them eating at McDonald's while they were there. Their love and devotion to one another never wavered during the years that followed. As a doctor and philanthropist, Priscilla's position was further cemented in 2015 when she finished her pediatric residency. After suffering through 3 losses, the Zuckerbergs welcomed their first daughter, Maxima Max Chan. In honor of Max's birth, the Zuckerbergs established the Chan-Zuckerberg Initiative, wherein they promised to give away 99% of Facebook shares to good causes including healthcare and education. With the arrival of their second daughter, in August 2017, their family expanded once more. As a new father, Mark took 2 months off work. Despite his rigorous work as Facebook's CEO, stressing the significance of spending time with family. They still made Sundays memorable, whether it was by trying new Asian restaurants or doing something easy with their daughters. The charitable work that Mark and Priscilla did was also reflective of their same beliefs. They founded the non-profit primary school in 2015 to educate children from low-income households. Additionally, San Francisco General Hospital was renamed Zuckerberg Hospital thanks to a $75 million donation from them. Despite the turmoil surrounding Facebook's legal issues and the hospital's rebranding, the couple's commitment to public health and education stayed strong. As time has progressed, their dedication to one another, their families, and their common goal has become stronger. Aurelia Chan Zuckerberg, their third daughter, was born in March of 2023, making her family the 5th of her kind. Despite the apparent success in their private lives, an unanswered question remains. Is Mark Zuckerberg's intense involvement with VR and the metaverse influencing his relationships in ways he doesn't expect? Join us as we reveal the unexpected solutions. A startling discovery on. The revolutionary achievements of Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg have garnered him widespread acclaim. One of the most important people of our time, his work has made him rich and changed the way people communicate. His marriage to Priscilla Chan, in particular, has been the subject of rumors suggesting that it may not be as idyllic as it seems, despite his successes in the professional world. According to reports, their relationship may be suffering due to Zuckerberg's incessant fixation on technology and creativity. It would appear that Priscilla and Zuckerberg are the epitome of a wonderful pair. Frequently, they treat their admirers to insights inside their lives together, replete with extravagant displays of affection. In a sweet throwback to their undergraduate days, Zuckerberg surprised his wife on their recent anniversary by recreating a beloved memory. The song that was playing when they first met was Get Low, so he produced a cover of it and even worked with hip-hop singer T-Pain to give it a distinctive spin. A lot of people liked the message because it made them feel all warm and fuzzy inside. Zuckerberg commissioned a 7-foot statue of Priscilla, inspired by Roman art, and it was unveiled online. It was another expensive present that garnered notice. Reactions were mixed to the elaborate design and touching homage. Some thought it was a very sweet gesture, while others wondered what it was really trying to say. Such lavish presents, according to a psychotherapist, may be an attempt to make up for emotional gaps or indications of unsolved issues. Rumor has it that friction is building up between them behind the scenes, despite their outward shows of affection. Priscilla is worried that Zuckerberg is becoming overly preoccupied with VR and the metaverse. Some may find Zuckerberg's habit concerning, considering he spends up to 14 hours a day wearing a virtual reality headset. He allegedly began calling Priscilla his human wife and even inquired if she was his flesh spouse or computer spouse on one occasion. Their offspring have also been caught up in these strange exchanges. During one incident, Zuckerberg made fun of their son, calling him digital spawn, and asked him to prove that he was walking. Priscilla supposedly finds these tales more stressful as she attempts to make sense of their increasingly tech-dependent society, even though they may appear funny to onlookers. Priscilla has been clean about how her relationship has suffered due to her husband's fixation with the online world. As Zuckerberg spends more time in his metaverse, she is starting to doubt the safety of their relationship, despite her long-standing policy of not interfering with his tech pursuits. An unusual incident involving electrocution allegedly happened when Zuckerberg tried to interact with a virtual reality headset in an unusual way. There has been no official confirmation of this incident, but it fits with the story of a man whose immersion in his work makes the distinction between actual and virtual life difficult to discern. Starting in the more laid-back days of college, their story exemplifies how ambition and technology can disrupt even the most stable relationships. Although they have a common past, it appears that the demands of Zuckerberg's tech empire are putting their relationship to the test. His ultimate goal was to create a universe unconstrained by matter. The truth behind the metaverse. People thought Mark Zuckerberg had made a giant leap for the digital age when he originally proposed the idea of the metaverse. The IT world was enthralled by the prospect of a physically limitless future brought about by the promise of a fully immersive VR experience. By rebranding Facebook as Meta in October 2021, Zuckerberg demonstrated his company's unwavering dedication to this audacious goal. He asserted that the metaverse will revolutionize the internet by providing a platform where individuals could convene, engage in conversation, and collaborate as if they were in the same room. Slick promotional movies and grand promises followed the initial distribution of Horizon Worlds, Meta's flagship offering. Many sectors were enthused by Zuckerberg's plan for a connected virtual world. Suddenly, rumblings of trouble are making their way into the Zuckerberg household. The Globe and Silicon Valley were taken aback by Priscilla Chan's statement, which betrays her long-admired quiet strength and unfaltering support. Shining brightly isn't your thing. Shimmering lights aren't my thing. I was informed that it would be beneficial for CZI, thus I am here. That can't possibly be possible. Does this signal a change for the seemingly unbreakable couple? There have been whispers that their marriage is on the rocks, but the backstory to her comments might change the game. Come explore the reality of this developing drama with us. The general public's view of Mark Zuckerberg's spouse. Examining how the public views Priscilla Chan is a necessary first step before delving into her current announcement. Chan, a well-respected pediatrician and philanthropist, has done great good with her philanthropic endeavors. Her marriage to Facebook founder Mark Zuckerberg, however, has put her at the center of attention and frequently draws criticism from the public. This scrutiny draws attention to the pressures on women in public relationships and the difficulties they have in being authentic while in these partnerships. There is a common criticism of Priscilla that is based on her looks. Many idealistic, shallow people think that Mark Zuckerberg, with all his money, should have wed a younger, more conventionally beautiful woman. Not everyone thinks she's a trophy wife, not everyone thinks she's blonde, blue-eyed, and supermodel-like. Their argument is that she is too old and of East Asian descent to be compatible with a billionaire. One reviewer made the observation that Mark Zuckerberg, a multimillionaire, should have gotten a blonde bombshell long ago and cheated on Priscilla Chan. This prejudice is exemplified by the feeling that money is directly proportional to the availability of beauty according to limited, westernized standards. But Priscilla's history and accomplishments reveal an entirely different tale. The child was born to Vietnamese parents in Braintree, Massachusetts on February 24, 1985. Her upbringing was humble. She was the first in her family to go to college, and she did it with flying colors, getting into Harvard. She has become a physician and devoted herself to philanthropy, despite the fact that many people just see her as the billionaire's wife. A fundamental aspect of Priscilla's life has been her commitment to assisting others. So that she could have an even bigger influence in the world, she decided to become a doctor after her college volunteer work. To better interact with her Hispanic patients, she went so far as to learn Spanish. After that, she and her husband established the Chan Zuckerberg Initiative, where they promised to give away 99% of Facebook's shares to charities related to healthcare, education, and the environment. Still, there are many who doubt her sincerity and purpose and question her involvement in Mark Zuckerberg's life, notwithstanding all her achievements. Some think that Zuckerberg's commercial interests in China, a country that bans Facebook, may be aided by her Chinese origin. According to one skeptic, Zuckerberg might be able to take advantage of Priscilla's Chinese heritage by obtaining special entry permits to China. This perspective fails to acknowledge her as a self-reliant and successful person, instead viewing her as a geopolitical asset. In contrast to the ostentatious lives commonly linked with billionaires, she is seen by many as a model of genuineness and relatability. A defender of marriage made the point that it's not about physical attraction but about the mutual benefits of the union. This viewpoint stresses the importance of relationships based on mutual respect and similar values over superficial ones. Some have gone so far as to say she's even more famous than Elon Musk's wife. Relationships involving Musk tend to be dramatic and extravagant, but it seems that Priscilla and Mark's partnership is solid and long-lasting. The security and depth that Zuckerberg's relationship with Priscilla has provided him during his stratospheric climb are ignored by critics who anticipate him to exchange her for a flashier spouse. Broader cultural biases are also shown by this criticism. There is a lot of attention on women in the spotlight, especially those who are married to strong men. Everything they do, look like, and decide to do is scrutinized. On top of being subjected to standards that would never be used to evaluate men. Shallow comments on Priscilla's beauty and her position as Zuckerberg's wife frequently eclipse her intelligence, accomplishments, and charitable efforts. Priscilla Chan may be the center of attention, yet she is still an inspiration to some. They look up to her for her tenacity, selflessness, and character strength. She is just too beautiful for him. A commentator made a joke that completely turned the story around. Priscilla Chan's compatibility with Mark Zuckerberg is a much debated topic, but one issue remains. Is it possible that their relationship's resilience stems from its modest origins, before they both became famous and wealthy? Keep watching as we go into their time together at Harvard and how they began their lives as a couple. An unexpected start. On the Harvard campus. An incredible love story began in 2003 on the sacred grounds of Harvard University. Priscilla Chan and a young Mark Zuckerberg first met during an energetic fraternity party put on the Alpha Epsilon Pi. They were both driven students dealing with the challenges of university life. Mark, a boundary-pushing sophomore, had already caused a fuss on campus with his use of face mash, a platform that established beauty standards for students. A native Bostonian in her second year of college, Priscilla was quieter, more focused on her coursework, and generally disinterested in the school scene. Their first encounter was far from idyllic. They had an equally out-of-the-ordinary conversation while waiting in line for the restroom. Mark talked about being kicked out of Harvard, a topic that was well known for his eccentric humor and defiant nature. Suggesting to Priscilla that they go on a date in a casual manner prior to his expulsion. The young man standing before her exuded an air of confidence that Priscilla found both entertaining and suspicious. Mark wasn't being dramatic when he said his Harvard situation was uncertain at the moment. He was unsure about what the future held after getting into trouble with the institution over face mash. After hearing about his shenanigans, Priscilla said that she didn't think he would have a long stay at the esteemed school. The two hit it off right away, maybe even because of this strange start. Their first date was a perfect example of Mark's fearless, unreticent personality. Instead of putting his studies first, he informed Priscilla he would rather to hang out with her than do his midterm at home. At first, his carefree demeanor surprised Priscilla, who is naturally exacting and self-controlled. Still, she was captivated by his refreshing candor. On that fateful night, a friendship was formed, one that would endure great trials and victories. It was 2005 that Mark made the decision that would change his life. He decided to leave Harvard and relocate to Palo Alto, California, so he could devote himself fully to his little company, Facebook. Priscilla opted to stay at Harvard to finish her degree, displaying her tenacity and practicality. They were practically on opposite sides of the world, but instead of growing apart, their bond became stronger. In 2007, when Priscilla received her diploma, Mark was there to celebrate with her. After that, she moved to California to attend UC San Francisco for medical school. Despite the increased demands on their time, they resolved to make their relationship a top priority.